Good evening. Thanks for joining me this Monday. I'm Azleena Najri and these are the headlines. Malaysia and China agree to set up JV company to manage ECRL project. Trio sentenced to jail for plotting to kidnap former premier and ministers. And 90 million people under threat as deadly storm system barrels to eastern US. Now we begin 7Edition with this story. A joint venture company will be set up to cover the cost of operation and maintenance of the East Coast Rail Link ECRL. Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said through the joint venture, China Communications Construction Company Limited, CCCC, and Malaysia Rail Link Limited, MRL, will share the cost at 50-50. The construction of the mega project is expected to be completed by 31st December 2026. This would also prevent a 21.78 billion ringgit penalty from being imposed on Malaysia if the China-backed rail project was axed entirely. Making this announcement at a special media conference on the ECRL in Putrajaya today, the Premier said that Malaysia can leverage CCCC's operational and maintenance expertise, thereby enhancing the long-term viability of the project.
CCCC will provide technical support and share the operational risks after the project's completion. This arrangement will ease the financial burden on Malaysia, which previously was to bear the entire cost of the operation and maintenance.
CCCC has also agreed to refund part of the 3.1 billion ringgit advance payment for the Phase 2 double tracking and northern extension under the original contract. 500 million ringgit will be returned within a week of the signing on April 12, while an additional 500 million ringgit in a month from that date. The remainder will be settled within 3 months after deducting a confirmed claim for suspension and cancellation of the North Level connection. The decision was reached after MRL entered a supplementary agreement with CCCC last Friday. The ECRL project is back on track at a cost of 44 billion ringgit, a reduction of 21.5 billion ringgit from its original value, at a range of 648 kilometres that will cut through 5 states instead of 4. Now, according to the Premier, the ECRL project will also see a higher percentage of local participation to 40% of civil works versus 30% accorded in the original deal. He said the increase in local participation is aimed at improving the local infrastructure sector.
We hope that the state governments of Kelantan, Terengganu, and Pahang will also seize the opportunity provided by the ECRL rail network and leverage on the development and growth that will result from the construction of the ECRL.
Tun Dr. Mahathir has also expressed his confidence that CCCC's involvement will attract and spur investment along the rail link corridor, especially from China. Now, at the same media conference, the Premier also confirmed that the renegotiation of the agreement on the ECRL project was made unconditionally for China to hand over businessman Low Teck Jo, or better known as Jo Low.
It has nothing to do with Mr. Jo Low, but of course we will seek the help of the Chinese government.
However, Tun Dr. Mahathir said Putrajaya took advantage of the deal to Beijing to import more palm oil from Malaysia. Now, Malaysia's success in renegotiating the ECRL project with China is significant as it saves Malaysia from the debt trap that Sri Lanka fell into. A New York-based academician wrote in Forbes today that Prime Minister Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad made good on his election campaign promise to renegotiate China's investments in Malaysia. The professor and chair of the Department of Economics at LIU Post in New York, Panos Mordukotas, said the investments served the interests of Beijing more than Putrajaya. He added that in dealing with China, Malaysia has dared to do something Sri Lanka, Pakistan and the Philippines did not, and that is to bring Beijing back to the negotiating table to cut the cost of the investment projects assigned to Chinese contractors. Mordukotas further said Tun Dr. Mahathir has been trying to avoid falling into the same trap that Sri Lanka did, and he did so successfully. Now moving on, a harrowing discovery today as a married couple were found dead in their rented room in Tasik Gelugo. An initial police investigation revealed that the couple had trouble with money and other personal problems. It was the landlord, Nirmala Devi, that made the shocking discovery when she returned home to send breakfast to the couple at around 9 a.m. According to her, the couple had been renting the room since last month. The last time she saw the man was yesterday evening, while his wife was last seen yesterday morning. She said there was nothing out of the norm with the couple when she went out for a meal with them.
Dan kita akan lihatlah daripada keputusan patologi dan juga postmortem nantilah. Dan kita akan maklum baliklah sebarang perkembangan. Setakat ini tidak ada kesan-kesan yang melibatkan jenayah, kes jenayah. Motif pun kita masih siasatlah.
He added that the 31-year-old man worked as a lorry operator, while his wife was a factory operator aged 27. The man's body was found hanging in the house, while his wife was found lying in bed in a room. Police are still investigating whether the woman drank poison. Over in Negeri Sembilan, 3 men were remanded for 3 days from today to facilitate a probe into an incident during the Rantau by-election last Saturday, where several individuals allegedly stopped and inspected a police vehicle. State Acting Police Chief Datuk Muhammad Mat Yusof said the remand order was issued by the Seremban Special Court Assistant Registrar. The trio were among 5 individuals sought by police for inspecting the vehicle in front of Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan China, SJKC Chunghua Rantau. The first man, a 53-year-old salesman, was picked up in Seremban, while the 2 others, a 36-year-old lorry driver and a chicken seller aged 37, were held in Rantau. The case is being probed under the Penal Code for obstructing public servants in discharging their public functions. The police vehicle was escorting another vehicle that was sending ballot papers to a vote tallying centre. 5 men then appeared and alleged that the police were bringing in additional ballot papers. When the car boot was opened, only a medical case and security equipment were there. The Kuala Lumpur High Court was told today that 8 documents, including 4 AmBank accounts belonging to former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak, had been taken from the bank branch in Jalan Raja Chulan for investigation by Bank Negara Malaysia. Its manager, Azizul Adzani Abdul Ghaffar, said the documents were acquired following a search at the premises on July 6, 2015 to get the list of accounts on investment obligations. The second prosecution witness, who was the search officer then, was testifying during examination-in-chief by Deputy Public Prosecutor Datuk Suhaimi Ibrahim on the second-day trial of Datuk Sri Najib's corruption case involving SRC International Sdn Bhd. He also told the court that the other documents were on 3 SRC International accounts, as well as an account belonging to the company's unit, Gandingan Mentari Sdn Bhd. Datuk Sri Najib is facing 3 counts of criminal breach of trust, 1 charge of abusing his position, and 3 counts of money laundering over SRC International funds amounting to 42 million ringgit. The Pekan MP was charged with committing the offence at a bank in Jalan Raja Chulan and the Prime Minister's office in Putrajaya between August 17, 2011 and February 10, 2015. Judge Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali later adjourned the hearing to 9 a.m. tomorrow. Now, the Putrajaya Court of Appeal has sent 3 Daesh members to jail for terrorism-related charges, including plots to kidnap former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak and 3 other ex-ministers 4 years ago. A 3-member panel chaired by Justice Datuk Vernon Ong Lam Kiat sentenced the trio, an Indonesian man and 2 Malaysian ex-soldiers, to 12 years jail and 8 years jail respectively. The court also ordered their jail term to begin from the day they were arrested on April 5, 2015. The Indonesian 31-year-old Ali Saifuddin is a technician with a Malaysian permanent resident status, while the 2 locals are Nur Azmi Jailani and Muhammad Yusri Muhammad Yusuf, both aged 32. They were found guilty to a charge with conspiring to promote terrorism-related activities in Malaysia between January 30th and April 6, 2015 at a house in Penang, Kedah. The trio had participated in a series of discussions with a son of a former Daesh militant on plans to kidnap 4 former ministers in exchange for the release of Security Offences Special Measures Act 2012 SOSMA detainees. The other former ministers were then Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi, former Defence Minister Datuk Sri Hishamuddin Hussein and former Youth and Sports Minister Khairi Jamaluddin. A janitor was charged with 4 counts of molesting a 14-year-old teenager in April last year. The accused, however, pleaded not guilty when the charges were read out before Judge Yong Zarida Sazali today. No bail was granted to the 46-year-old man who is being detained until the trial concludes. He was accused of committing the offence twice on April 2nd at Sri Malacca Flats in Cheras, Kuala Lumpur, and committed the act 2 more times the following day. He was charged under the Sexual Offences Against Children Act, which carries maximum of 20 years imprisonment and whipping. The court set May 25th for remention. Now, authorities have launched a search and rescue operation for 4 fishermen, including 2 brothers, who have gone missing off West Port in Port Klang, Selangor. The Malaysian Maritime Enforcement Agency, MMEA, said the fishermen's last known location was 0.3 nautical miles from South Tanjung Mahang yesterday. The fishermen were identified as siblings, 38-year-old Muhammad Faisal Romli and Muhammad Firdaus Romli, aged 25, as well as their friend Muhammad Amirul Adli Khairi, also 25, and another person known only as Nazaruddin. Now, it was understood that the fishermen were scheduled to arrive at the Sungai Kembung Jetty, Pulau Indah, yesterday morning. However, one of them contacted a friend to ask for help after failing to start their fiberglass boat engine because of battery problems. The agency was notified by police on the disappearance of the fishermen at 9:40 p.m. on Sunday before launching the search 50 minutes later. But so far, there's still no sign of the missing victims. Now, when we come back, what does cake lapis got to do with Yuna? Find out next. Thanks for staying with us. Now, some 800 employees of rice supplier Prolink Marketing Sdn Berhad are facing an uncertain future with the company, which has failed to pay their salaries and wages since March last year. Its Group Managing Director, Dr. C. Kuganeswaran, said the company has incurred hundreds of million ringgit in losses due to an unresolved issue over a financial facility with an international bank.
Kerugian dalam segi profit syarikat kita dah rugi dalam 100 juta untuk 2017 dengan 2018.
Lebih 100 juta ke ataupun?
Tak, itu business loss. Lepas tu kita ada kerugian dari segi facility bank. Kita punya facility bank dengan bank-bank lain adalah tertunggak sebanyak 128 juta.
Dr. Kuganeswaran also said the company has engaged with Bank Negara Malaysia and the Finance Ministry, as well as lodged a police report over the matter, but to no avail. He called on the International Bank to take responsibility to ensure the survival of the company, which has been in operations for over 20 years. Dr. Sarudin Jamal officially started his duty as the 17th Johor Menteri Besar this morning at the Datuk Jaafar Mohamad building in Kota Iskandar. The first-term assemblyman who took his oath of office yesterday clocked in at the MB's office at 9 a.m. Dr. Sarudin was met upon arrival at the State Secretary, Dato' Azmi Rohani, and State Financial Officer, Dato' A. Rahim Nin, and State Excos, as well as senior officers at his office. The ceremony began with the dua led by Johor Mufti Department Officer, Ustaz Hanafia Abdul Razak. A handover ceremony between former MB Dato' Osman Sapian and Dr. Sarudin took place at the Exco meeting room, the same building.
Aku pun ucapan terima kasih yang setinggi-tingginya lah kepada semua masyarakat, kepada Datuk Osman sendiri yang telah bersama-sama kita selama lebih kurang 11 bulan untuk memastikan segala tugas-tugas beliau sebagai Menteri Besar dapat dilaksanakan dengan jayanya.
The Bukit Kepong assemblyman was sworn in as Menteri Besar before the Sultan of Johor, Sultan Ibrahim Sultan Iskandar, at Istana Bukit Serin, Johor Bahru yesterday. He replaced Dato' Osman, who resigned from the post after just 11 months in office. The proposed 7 billion ringgit Pan-Island Link 1 highway project in Penang is expected to take off next year after it received the green light from the Department of Environment, DOE. Penang Chief Minister Chow Kon Yeow said this followed a conditional approval by the DOE on April 10th, which endorsed the project's environmental impact assessment report with 56 conditions. Speaking at a press conference today, Chow said the DOE has concluded that the project fulfills all requirements under the Environment Quality Act.
Kerajaan negeri melihat kelulusan laporan EIA ini sebagai satu pencapaian besar yang membolehkan projek ini dilaksanakan. Malah dengan kelulusan laporan EIA yang diperolehi, visi kerajaan negeri untuk menangani kesesakan lalu lintas di negeri ini dapat direalisasikan melalui inisiatif pembangunan infrastruktur pengangkutan.
He added that related government agencies may now seek other necessary approvals for the state to commence construction of the highway by the middle of next year. The project is a 19.5-kilometre highway that will form a second north-south spine road to improve traffic congestion on Penang Island. It also consists of 7.6 kilometres of viaduct sections, 4 tunnel sections totaling 10.1 kilometres in length, as well as embankment sections totaling 1.8 kilometres. Now let's hop on to our daily segment Clickbait, where we take a look at what's trending at making rounds in the cyber world today. So what do you get when you cross Yunalis Zarai, or better known as Yuna, one of Malaysia's biggest talents, with the oh-so-delicious cake lapis? Well, you probably might have to hunt for some while listening to Yuna's new single, Forevermore. Recently, Abdullah Hafiz tweeted a thread comparing Yuna's colourful outfits in the music video with the designs of the delicious cake lapis Sarawak. Take a look at the compilations.
Yuna's sweet vocals with the deliciousness of cake lapis, that sounds like a perfect combo.
Now updated as of 7 p.m, here are the top trending topics and searches on the internet today. Now, still talking about the internet, Facebook, Instagram and WhatsApp suffered another worldwide outage for more than 2 hours on Sunday. According to tracking website downdetector.com, Facebook began experiencing issues at about 6:30 p.m. and more than 11,000 reports have been lodged in since. The site's outage map indicated that Malaysia is among the countries facing problems getting on Facebook, including parts of Indonesia and Singapore. Europe appears to be the most affected, as well as the east coast of the United States. All three social media and messaging platforms belong to Facebook, and as at press time, they have yet to issue a statement on the matter. The disruption in service comes after a similar outage affecting Facebook and its apps last month, which the firm had blamed on a server configuration change. After the break, at least 7 children killed by mortar shell in Afghanistan. We'll be right back. We're back with foreign news. In Afghanistan, 7 children were killed and 10 more wounded after an unexploded mortar shell blew up in Mehtar Lam on Sunday. All the victims were below the age of 15. According to authorities, the circumstances around how the children found the mortar and why it exploded were under investigation. The incident appears to be the latest instance of discarded ordnance claiming civilian lives in a country littered with landmines, homemade bombs and old shells. In 2017, about 150 people were killed every month or wounded by mines and so-called explosive remnants of war. Meanwhile, over in the US, a massive storm system that killed at least 5 people and injured a dozen others on Sunday is now barreling east, threatening to spawn another round of tornadoes as well as other catastrophic weather. About 90 million people will be in the way of the storms and tornadoes, dozens of which have been reported across 10 states. According to the National Weather Service, the affected areas will get heavy rains, winds with gusts of up to 110 kilometers per hour, and the possibility of hail. Nearly 2,000 flights were cancelled or delayed, with most of the trouble at airports in Dallas, Charlotte, and Chicago. Mississippi was also hit hard, with local authorities declaring a state of emergency. On Sunday afternoon, several people remained unaccounted for, and almost 100,000 homes and businesses in the region remained without power. Now, 2 days before the Indonesians go to the polls, dawn attack seems to be an option for some candidates in order to sway votes. Vote buying, it seems, has become a normal practice in Indonesian society, especially when many voters see it as a reward in exchange for their support. From Jakarta, Indonesia, Nadia Mohsin reports.
In recent years, Jakarta has shown a commitment to combating corruption. Last year, Indonesia earned 38 points in the Corruption Perception Index, the highest since 1995. However, like most other countries, elections are most prone to being witness to corrupt practices. According to researchers, Indonesia, the world's third largest democracy, has some of the worst money politics in Southeast Asia. When the authorities arrested Indonesian politician Bowo Sidik Panggarso with 400,000 envelopes valued at 8 billion rupiah, is an alarming signal that vote buying remains a powerful force.
50.000 dan ini memang tujuannya adalah untuk serangan fajar. Itu menurut pengakuan dari dia. Untuk apa? untuk kepentingan dia karena dia akan mencalonkan diri sebagai DPR untuk
192 million voters will cast their votes on April 17th, this time to choose the presidential and legislative candidates. Indonesian Corruption Watch said 60% of corruption practices come from politics. In the election perspective, money politics were massive during the legislative election compared to the presidential election.
Maka kontestasi yang terjadi adalah kontestasi antar kandidat, bukan kontestasi antar partai politik. Yang berjuang adalah kandidat, bukan partai politik. Bahkan di antara kandidat dalam satu partai politik yang sama juga sering terjadi gesekan dan pertarungan oleh mereka. Nah, ini yang kemudian mendorong banyaknya money politics di Indonesia karena didorong oleh keinginan masing-masing kandidat untuk menang dan memperoleh votes atau suara. Nah, di lain sisi perilaku pemilih di Indonesia juga turut menyuburkan money politics, khususnya daerah-daerah yang secara ekonomi lemah. Itu adalah sasaran untuk intervensi dan sasaran target terjadinya politik uang.
1 in 3 Indonesians were exposed to vote buying in the election 2014. Fighting corruption has become the topic of discussion in the first round of presidential debates on January 17. Both candidates, Joko Widodo and Prabowo Subianto, expressed their commitment to curb corruption. In his 5 years administration, Jokowi has been criticized in relation to some of his actions regarding bribery, despite his commitment and efforts to fight graft. Some of his cabinet's ministers are now under investigation by the Indonesia Anti-Graft Commission with regarding to money politics. Meanwhile, Widodo's challenger, Prabowo Subianto, has also been playing the same card. He repeatedly made bold statements on fighting corruption, despite 40 representatives from his party had previously been charged with graft. Tommy Suharto, son of the long-serving Indonesia former President Suharto, who was well known for his corruption scandal, will be contesting for the parliamentary seat this year. Prabowo is the ex-son-in-law of Suharto and remains close friend with his ex-wife, Titik Suharto. Nadia Muhsin, Jakarta, Indonesia.
And that wraps up 7Edition this evening. Before we leave, take a look at the exotic 3D paintings by a talented man in northern China. I'm Azleena Najri. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Good night.